Welcome to the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I am Amber Romaniuk, emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert. I am also the founder of amberapproved.ca. I support professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. This podcast provides the honest truth on what you really need to create body freedom. The No Sugarcoating Podcast provides information on healthy living, lifestyle changes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of your healthcare practitioner regarding your health and nutrition program. Hello and welcome to episode 186 of the No Sugarcoating Podcast. This week I'm talking about overbooked schedules and hormone health, ways stress fuel inflammation, and tips to balance your schedule for hormone health. It's such a great topic. I see this with people all the time and I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So can't wait to dive in. On that note, the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/186. A friendly reminder to subscribe to the No Sugarcoating Podcast on all podcast apps. You can click the link in the show notes as well. You can listen to all the episodes at amberapproved.ca/podcast. Oh, and I'm so excited. I'm building a new website and it's going to be ready soon and I can't wait to share it with all of you. And of course, I will announce that when it's all ready. So definitely can't wait. I've been pouring my well, not really blood or tears, but like my sweat and my soul and my good vibe energy into it. And I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. I've had my business for almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in August and it was just time to update things. So definitely looking forward to sharing that with you. So yes, it's going to be coming sometime in June here. A question for you guys, and I really want you to take some time to reflect upon this and pause the podcast if you have to. Is the scale dictating your happiness? Is it? It definitely used to for me, and I wouldn't wear certain clothes. I'd hide at home for days, especially warm days, summer days, because I'd fear that I'd have to wear something more revealing that didn't fit or that just would expose parts of me that just felt far too vulnerable. And I didn't want to have to go and buy new clothes because I'd hoped to fit into my smaller ones, which just felt so defeating. Can you relate? And then I'd say, next summer I will get to enjoy myself. Next summer I'll have the weight gone. And then I would just write off the current summer that was coming up. And I wrote off a lot of summers because I wasn't a certain weight. I denied myself of love, happiness, fun, adventures, and so much more because I was attached to the number on the scale dictating my happiness and my self-worth. I can't get that time back. I don't want you to regret not being able to get that time back either. When I started to build confidence and acceptance with the current body that I lived in, I finally felt peace. I came to know that regardless of my weight, I could choose to enjoy life fully now and build acceptance with my body. I could choose to feel and look beautiful at any number because the number no longer mattered. What really mattered and matters is feeling healthy and happy. And I took my power back from the scale and I've never looked back. And you can do the same by learning how to feel comfortable and safe in your body. When you do that, you realize life is happening now and you want to enjoy your summer to the fullest. You no longer let a number on a scale interfere with you enjoying your vacation, your road trip, your patio adventure, or whatever else you have planned. You are enough now, you truly are, and I'd love to support you to create that feeling for yourself. So if you're struggling with hormones, digestion, emotional eating, the body image, the scale, email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line Summer Coaching Sale to save big on 6-month and 1-year coaching programs for the next few weeks. This is a huge gift to give yourself. Like, what would it feel like for you if you could just enjoy your summer and have peace with your body, peace with food, and peace with your health? It's fully possible. I support beautiful clients with it every day. I'm witness to it myself. You deserve it and I want you to have it. So again, you can email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line Summer Coaching Sale. And if you're wondering if you're struggling with emotional eating, be sure to take advantage of 2 wonderful gifts I have on my website. I have my emotional eating quiz as well as my emotional eating video series, and you can click through the links in the show notes for both of those. Last but not least, make sure you're following me at Amber Romaniuk, Romaniuk, which is my name on Instagram, as this is where I share a lot of health tips, emotional eating inspiration, recipes, Instagram stories, lives, and more. So that's at Amber Romaniuk. Thank you for the reviews and ratings, emails, messages, and shares that you guys do for the podcast. Did you know that the No Sugarcoating podcast is now listened to in over 77 countries around the world? Like, I'm so grateful and thankful. I love Tuesdays because Tuesdays are recording day for my podcast, and it just makes me so excited to share just authentic thoughts, emotions, experiences, memories, observations of, clients and other people around me, and share that with you guys to help give you more awareness. So thank you for all of your support. If you would like to leave a review to support the podcast, which is a great way to do so, you can do so on your phone or computer by going to podcasts, searching for the No Sugarcoating podcast. Even if you're subscribed already, this is how you need to find the show. Once you're on my main page, you can click on reviews, write a review in purple, give me 5 stars if you like, write a little something. You can also go to amberapproved.ca/review, and it will take you to the page where you can follow the steps that I just shared. If you have questions, you can submit them to info@amberapproved.ca. I please ask the questions are no more than 150 words in length, as health histories require more support, and one-on-one coaching would probably be a better fit. And if you're finding a specific eating style is not working for you, you're struggling with emotional eating, the fight with the scale and your weight, food addiction, digestive issues, inflammation, you suspect your hormones are off, self-care continues to be a struggle, and you are last on your priority list, well, you're in the right place, because these are all the topics I will continue to talk about, diving into the habits and mindsets to set you on a different path. Amber Approved offers private coaching for hormonal imbalances, weight loss and digestive issues, emotional eating, and more. Contact Amber at amberapproved.ca to book your 30-minute complimentary consultation today. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you grab a pen and a paper, a journal and a pen. You're going to want to be writing stuff down. You could also add this into your phone, but please grab a piece of paper and a pen, because this first point is overbooked schedules and hormone health, and I'm going to be going through a massive series of symptoms that I see people struggling with that are usually tied to hormone health. These could also be tied to digestive health and inflammation and other imbalances in the body, but my focus today is really around how overbooked schedules impact your hormone health. So it may seem, overbooked schedules to so many people may seem like a minor detail when it comes to your health and well-being. A really busy schedule just seems like the norm. It's like, it's cool to be busy. It's a good thing to be busy. It makes you look better, and just about portraying an image of a certain kind. And I used to be the same kind of person. People, when I had my business and I started it, and people were like, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm so busy. And I was proud of it. And looking back, I'm just kind of it's funny, because I'm I did that to try and look good. But I got so busy that it threw my hormones out of whack, and that didn't serve me. I had recovered from my food addiction, but I was still working on balancing my hormones, and just being busy, go, and overbooking my schedule and having no white space made my hormones worse. And I support and talk with so many women and men too, but primarily women who are struggling with this, because they're going in the business that they run, or the career that they've picked, or maybe you're a mom and you're taking care of everybody and everything, and you're volunteering for everything and everybody, and you're just giving, but you're not giving to yourself, and you're struggling and you're suffering, and it's impacting your emotional, physical health. It's impacting your relationship with food, your relationship with your body. And perhaps you can tie it to what I mentioned above, that now you're wanting to hide for summer. Maybe you didn't lose the weight. Maybe you're not feeling confident in your body, and you're wanting to cancel all of your summer plans and hide at home. And that none of that has to be the case. It's just that we need to take a different approach. And instead of going on a quick crash diet for the next 4 or 6 weeks, what if you actually took the time to understand if your schedule is having an impact on your hormones, and what other pieces of the puzzle that you just don't know about are having an impact, and what if you actually work through those things? So definitely overbooked schedules play a huge role in health imbalances, health symptoms, especially when it comes to things like poor digestion, inflammation, emotional overwhelm that triggers emotional eating, cravings, blood sugar imbalances, appetite imbalances, and of course, hormones. So the busier your schedule, essentially, the higher your stress levels tend to be. So even if it's happy, positive things you're filling your time with, it's that the body doesn't recognize good stress from bad stress. It just recognizes it all as stress, just like exercise. You may feel really good after you exercise, but if you're going all the time and you're just so busy, and then you're throwing in really intense exercise, your body can't tell the difference. Your body doesn't know that you're trying to do something good for yourself. So your body just goes into this full-on stress mode, and then the exercise can all of a sudden have a negative impact instead of a positive one. So the body just recognizes it as stress. So if you're always on the go and you're filling up your schedule, but you're struggling to lose or maintain a healthy weight, and some are, all of the following symptoms you are experiencing, you may be struggling with hormone imbalances that are being fueled by your overbooked schedule and by stress. So this is where I make sure you have your piece of paper or your pen, because I'm going to go through a lot of the most common symptoms that I see people struggling with. And I would say if you're struggling with more than 5 of these symptoms, if you're struggling with over half, 3/4, all of them, please reach out and get support, whether it's from me or someone else. Send me an email, share with me, how you feel after listening to this podcast. What impact has it had to be made more aware of your symptoms? I just think that this is so powerful to take a more in-depth look at this, as these two are so tied together and they go hand in hand, and then they have such a massive impact on every area of your life. So the first symptom, you are tired, you're fatigued, doesn't matter how much you sleep, you are just exhausted. And then you have brain fog, so it feels like your head's always in the clouds. You have fuzzy thinking. Your memory doesn't feel like it's working properly. You're putting the cereal in the cupboard and the milk in the fridge. That kind of a mentality. It's kind of like, I kind of refer to the brain fog. I don't know if you've ever been to LA, or if I have my listeners from California or LA, if you've ever visited there. I absolutely love California and I love LA. And so shout out to all my beautiful California, LA listeners. But if you've ever been stuck at the airport on a plane because the fog can get so thick, I was like, and that happened to me one day, and I'm looking up at the fog, I'm going, this is kind of like brain fog. Like you can't see anything, it's cloudy, it's unclear. You just don't feel like yourself when there's that fog. But it's when you can get above the fog into the blue sky and experience the clarity and the energy that can happen, you realize that the fog, the brain fog and the fatigue are not normal. It is not normal to be so tired no matter how much you sleep and have brain fog and poor memory. The memory tied to age is not true. It's usually hormone imbalances, vitamin, nutrient deficiencies, digestive imbalances. And once people balance these things out and gain their health back and get their life back, they have mental clarity. Your memory is so much better. I remember I was like 23, 24. I couldn't remember a thing. And that's because I was experiencing all this on top of my food addiction. And as I balanced and healed my body, my memory drastically improved. The energy, balance and the fatigue went away. So it just goes to show you that it's not, oh, I'm getting older, so these things just happen as I get older. Please do not accept that as your normal. Please do not. That is a mindset. And that is, to me, a limiting mindset. It is so imbalances that are going on in the body that can be resolved, and then you have these symptoms go away. So that's my rant on the first few symptoms. Another sign of hormone imbalances, this is a big one, not sleeping well, and or you're waking up in the night between especially midnight and 4 a.m. multiple times, or even just once, and you can't fall back to sleep. You have troubles falling back to sleep, or you have troubles falling asleep in the first place. Huge sign of hormone imbalances, okay? Maybe you have cravings for salt, huge sign of hormone imbalances and high stress. Maybe you're craving sugar and carbs. Again, another sign, especially of cortisol imbalance, the stress hormone. Perhaps you regularly experience a lot of irritability, frustration, anger, or lower moods. You're sad. You don't feel like yourself. You feel very reactive towards others, and you snap even at the smallest thing. And then you think to yourself, this isn't me, but I don't know why this is happening, and I don't know how to stop it. Your sex drive is low. That's a huge sign of hormone and digestive imbalances and stress. We're not supposed to have low sex drives. I really think that that's just another sign of more imbalance going on in the body. Perhaps you feel puffy, like you're retaining water, and your clothes seem like they're fitting tighter. Your rings fit tighter on your fingers. You may even notice your face feels or looks more swollen or puffy. Maybe you notice your wrists and ankles feel more puffy and swollen. These are all signs of inflammation and stress and retention, usually tied to, again, hormones. Can also be digestive, but hormones plays a huge role in this. I definitely used to notice when I'd have high periods of stress or didn't sleep well and binge ate, the amount of retention that I would carry in my body, especially my rings would fit so tight. My face would get really puffy and swollen. My stomach would puff out and be really swollen. It was profound. I did a lot of damage to my body going through my food addiction. And I've healed my body a lot, and I'm still healing my body. There's just like key core pieces. Like I feel like I'm really healthy, but there's just some things that take longer than others to balance out. And I feel like my hormones are pretty good and my digestion is really good. Now I'm working more on like detoxification and my lymphatic system. But like putting myself through unconsciously being unaware from 5 to probably 21 of just eating poorly and emotionally eating and not even realizing it. And then being aware of my food addiction from age 21 to age 24 and trying to get through it. I put my body through a lot, and I'm so grateful and thankful that she's given me a second chance. It makes me emotional because I don't think, and I know it's not on purpose, but I don't think people realize what they put their bodies through when they're overbooking their schedules, when they're not eating enough, when they're going on crash diets, when you're just not caring about your body and fueling it with garbage essentially, and then putting yourself down, putting your body down and not living your life because you don't like the way you look, because you're not willing to take the time to take care of yourself or take responsibility and do the work to build a healthy relationship with your body, with food, with your life. We take it for granted. People take their bodies for granted. I definitely used to. And I've done a lot of forgiveness with myself. I'm not hard on myself about anything I went through anymore. I don't beat myself up for it. It was all a learning experience. But I just want you to know how deeply this can impact your health. And if it is not dealt with and it is not addressed, the level of suffering that you may be experiencing or could experience in the future could be very high, and this could eventually result in serious illness. And I don't want that for any of you. I want you to prevent, and I want you all to be optimally healthy and happy and have optimal health and happiness be your normal so that you can have your life back and you can live your life to the fullest. I so mean that from my heart and my soul, because I know what it's like to have gone through all of that and to have to take the time to balance it and to not regret, but just, be very grateful that my body has given me a second chance. Because for some people, this fight and this struggle, it takes them to the point where they don't get a second chance. And I don't want to scare anybody. That's not why I'm talking about this, but I just want you to know how real and how serious these things can evolve into if we do not address them and take the time to work on them. The body is only going to work for so long before she can't anymore. And then instead of us getting angry with our bodies, we need to work with them and support them. So just a little bit of a side rant, but I just want you to know that it's so important that we address and that we support our bodies and deal with these things. So if you have afternoon energy lulls, that can be another sign of hormone imbalances. If you don't get a hunger signal through the day. So a lot of my clients, when I start working with them, they're not eating breakfast. Maybe they're only eating one meal through the day and they're like, oh, I never feel hungry, so I just don't eat. And I'm like, well, one of the reasons why you don't feel hungry is because you're not eating regularly and your hunger hormones are out of whack. So you produce ghrelin to make you hungry, leptin to make you feel full. And if you're not eating regularly through the day, if you're skipping meals, if you're especially skipping breakfast, I find you don't produce ghrelin to make you feel hungry first thing in the morning. And that has an impact on your metabolism, that has an impact on your hormones, your stress, your cortisol, your inflammation, your insulin and blood sugar levels. It impacts everything. And it then sabotages your efforts. It sets you up for increased chances of later day binge eating or emotional eating. And as well, it can increase your cravings and again, set you up for complete self-sabotage later in the day. I often find then people are gaining weight really easily and they struggle to lose weight. And that can be tied to the hormone imbalances and not eating enough and taking such long breaks between meals and snacks. Some of you may say, well, I fast and I'm good with that. Well, great if you can do that and you're healthy and you're not doing it to try to lose weight or as a quick fix. But I find the majority of my listeners and the people that I talk to cannot successfully do something like that because they're trying to do it as a quick fix. They're doing it for all the wrong reasons. So if it works for you, great. I'm also being a voice for all the people it's not working for because people are trying it out of desperation. So energy is huge, blood sugar is huge, hunger signals are huge. And if you're not getting them, then that to me is a sign of the imbalance that is going on in the body. Perhaps it's that you feel like you could eat everything in sight, so you start eating and it feels hard to stop. That's also tied to hunger hormones as well and blood sugar. Another sign of overbooked schedules impacting your hormones rather, is you're struggling with emotional eating. So you're binging or you're emotionally eating, and then you're going to swing way the other way and you're restricting and dieting and you're counting calories. And then when you fall off your new diet, then you're back to emotional eating and you're just going, screw it, I don't care, I don't feel good, so I'm just going to eat foods that taste good and feel good temporarily. And then once you finish eating, you're angry and you're frustrated with yourself and you feel guilty, and then you're hating on yourself and being hard on yourself and criticizing. And then you're swinging way back the other way because now you're panicking and you need to go back to dieting. That is one of the biggest stressors you can put on your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I really believe that. I went through that for years. I have clients who've gone through that for years and decades. The impact that this behavior has on your health is profound. It is so destructive. That is why it's so important to deal with and support overcoming emotional eating, so you can take a huge stressor off your body, increase your body's chances of balancing and regulating to reach optimal health. Diets don't fix emotional eating. Weight loss doesn't fix emotional eating. They don't help you build self-love. You've got to be willing to do the inner work, but it's the inner work that can be life-saving, and it's the inner work that can give you your optimal health and give you your life back, give you peace and happiness and freedom. And that, my friends, is what this is about. Quick fixes don't work. Let's do the inner work. Let's take responsibility and want to get uncomfortable and do the fulfilling work, because it is fulfilling and it's freeing. And yes, it takes longer, and yes, it's uncomfortable, but it gives you so much more and you learn so much more about yourself. So yeah, if you're struggling with emotional eating, that will have a huge impact on your hormones. Perhaps it's that you're gaining weight and or struggling to lose weight or maintain. I see this with pretty much everyone that I work with. I went through this myself many times. When you have hormone imbalances and your schedule is overbooked, often there's a lot of stress going on in the body, and especially if you throw in emotional eating, negative self-talk, digestive issues. There are so many stressors going on in the body from an emotional and physical standpoint that the chances of weight loss are very low unless you're very restrictive. And we don't have to be very restrictive because it's not sustainable. So it's to understand that the body hangs on to protection when she doesn't feel safe. So when there's too much stress going on, the last things your body wants to do is to reproduce or to lose weight. Those go to the bottom of the list. Your body's trying to regulate hormones, calm inflammation, work through the restriction and the dieting and the overeating, the negative self-talk. These pieces are all very important when it comes to your weight loss journey. And if we're not addressing the cravings, the emotional eating, the inflammation, the digestive issues, the hormone imbalances, the overbooked schedule, the negative self-talk, if we're not addressing all of those pieces, the chances of overcoming emotional eating, building a healthy relationship with your body, and letting go of the protection for good are slim to none. And I'm being realistic and I'm being honest, because you'll probably just gain it back over and over and over again and stay stuck in the vicious cycle, because we have to take the focus off of weight loss and dieting and onto building a healthy relationship with yourself and food, getting to the roots as to why you're experiencing the physical symptoms you are. That is the key. Truly, I've worked with enough people to witness and see that, even personally experiencing that with myself, especially if this has been something you've been struggling with for more than a year, 10 years, decades. It's so important to take a completely different approach, because obviously the diet weight focus approach has not been working, and it's just throwing your hormones off. If you feel tired after your workouts instead of feeling energized, that can also be a sign of hormone imbalances. Not feeling like yourself. So if you don't feel like yourself, if you feel highly emotional, if you feel like you get upset more easily, you're feeling low more often, these can all be signs of hormone imbalances and overbooked schedules stressing you out. This is a big one. So you struggle with many PMS symptoms like bloating, cravings, cramping, excessive bleeding, missed periods, heavy periods, spotting, and or if you're in menopause, your hot flashes are unbearable, you're moody, you aren't sleeping well, and you may be gaining weight. So these are not normal, acceptable things to just be experiencing. The more PMS or the more menopause symptoms you have, the higher state of stress your body is probably in, the more inflammation there is going on, potentially the more hormone imbalances there may be going on, the more digestive imbalances there may be going on. It's not normal to have really intense PMS symptoms. Society has just deemed it normal because so many people are struggling with these symptoms that the doctor just says, oh yeah, no worries, it's fine. No, it's not, because the more healthy I got, the more my PMS symptoms went away. Same thing happens with my clients. You literally get to the point where you have little to no symptom and you just get your cycle. or you have little to no symptom going through menopause. And that is a sign of a much more healthy, balanced body. And that's what I want for all of you. You should not have multiple intense symptoms that, you suffer with for a week or 2 weeks before your cycle. Inflammation is a huge part of hormone imbalances and overbooked schedules. So it comes in the forms, of course, of swelling, water retention, feeling warm, feeling pain, feeling redness, hair loss, cold hands and feet, and poor memory can be signs of hormone imbalance, especially when it comes to the thyroid. Perhaps you notice that, or you feel like by the end of your day, your pants fit tight, your clothes feel tighter, you just feel more puffy and more swollen. Again, this is all signs of potential hormone imbalances tied to inflammation and stress. Perhaps you feel anxiety or feelings of anxiousness. Perhaps you feel depressed. These can be signs of gut imbalances, hormone imbalances, overbooked schedules, not honoring yourself at all. That's often what I find is at the root of feeling anxious, is that you're not taking enough time for yourself, and your cortisol goes out of whack, and too high or too low of cortisol levels can increase chances of experiencing anxiousness or anxiety. Often with hormone imbalances can come skin issues and skin breakouts on your face, your arms. All sorts of different skin reactions can happen if the hormones are out of balance. And there are more symptoms, I'm sure, but these are some of the most common ones that I've seen my clients struggle with and that I observed within myself. So this is a lot, but it just goes to show you how many potential things may be going on in the body that are tied to your hormones, tied to stress, tied to overbooked schedules, emotional eating. And what ends up happening is a domino effect. So first you're continually overbooked and that fuels your stress levels. And then perhaps you throw in that you aren't sleeping well and you're tired and you're turning to food for comfort, which of course is the emotional eating piece. And this puts huge stress on your digestive system as well as, boosts up your cortisol levels, which of course your cortisol is your stress hormone. And it puts you into fight or flight, which is a stress response. Your body puts you into fight or flight when it feels threatened, almost like there's a bear threatening your life, but it's that usually there's no bear. And so your blood becomes more acidic. And the more acidic you are, the higher chance you have of lower immunity or illness thriving. That's because we're only supposed to be acidic for limited amounts of time, because back in the caveman days when you were out hunting and foraging and a bear came to attack you, your body produces the cortisol and then you become more acidic. And then that way, if that bear bites into you and tastes how bitter your blood is when it's acidic, it doesn't want to eat you. And it actually, the acidity saves you. But the problem is we're having stress all the time. We're producing cortisol 24/7, too much of it, and you're staying acidic for too long. And that's where the low immunity and the bacteria grow. And it just opens up all sorts of potential issues within the body that impact your health. So if it's taking you weeks or months to get over a cold or a flu, this may be part of the reason why, tied to the hormones, the high stress, the low immunity. Our bodies are only meant to, again, have stressors for small amounts of time to then recover. Adding more to your plate, wanting to prove, wanting to overachieve, wanting to hustle, people please, just go, 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 and strive for perfection are usually quite self-sabotaging behaviors. I'm all for high standards. I'm all for doing things well. I'm all for having goals, but I'm also for balance. And I'm also for making sure your health is kept in check and kept in mind while you're striving for your life things, because what good are you if you don't have your health? How can you strive for things if you're unwell? Right? And how can you enjoy it all if you're not feeling well? So I think that it's important to address perfectionism and people pleasing. I think it's important to address the want to give to everyone else and not give to yourself, and to overbook your schedule, because that usually comes from an underlying place of not feeling good enough. So self-care, supporting optimal health, supporting overcoming emotional eating, building a balanced schedule and making sure that you're also taking time for yourself is really important. And if you're a busy CEO and you're listening to this going, well, I don't have time. Like, I've got to travel. I've got all these meetings. My business is highly successful. But it's like, okay, well, to what point does it cost you your health that then you're forced to slow down? Like, we don't want it to get to a seriousness where you're forced to slow down. We want to prevent. And that is, bringing in some form of balance into your busy, successful schedule. Because again, how do you enjoy it all if you're unwell? If you don't feel confident in your body? If you're self-sabotaging in the background? And this goes for anybody, whether you're a busy mom or you're a business owner or you're in a career, whatever it is, it's the same theme, and it has the same kind of impact. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with High Vibe Health. High Vibe Health is Alberta's only certified organic bone broth company and creator of Choco Broth, a chocolate bone broth drink that actually tastes like hot chocolate warm or chocolate milk chilled and is gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free, bone broth full, and paleo-friendly. Check out High Vibe Health online at www.highvibehealth.ca to shop their organic bone broths, bone broth soups, broth pops, and choco broth. Feel free to also visit them at their broth shop in Midnapore, Calgary to take advantage of special offerings like gluten-free bone broth cookies. Delicious, love them so much. You definitely have to check them out. Again, that's highvibehealth.ca. So this brings me to my second point, which is ways stress fuels inflammation. So when you're constantly in stress mode, as I mentioned earlier, your body's in protection mode, it's acidic, it's in fight or flight mode. Your body wants to hang on to weight because your body feels threatened. And that's because the body, again, doesn't feel safe. It's in stress mode. So often people will hang on to weight and the body will produce more inflammation because you're in a consistent, constant state of stress. You may not sleep well. And then what ends up happening is poor sleep produces a stress response. And that stress response produces water retention, inflammation, puffiness, fatigue, higher or lower cortisol levels, and that can throw your other hormones out of balance, and that can make you feel more tired and more inflamed. And then on top of that, you're making poor food choices. You're not eating regularly through the day. You're overeating. All of this piles on more of a bigger stress response. And this all impacts your hormones. It impacts your digestive system. And stress, of course, impacts stomach acid levels and often lowers them. Drinking alcohol, binge eating, of course, if you struggle with bulimia, if you have had to take prescription drugs, all of these different things lower your stomach acid levels. And we need enough stomach acid to break down, especially our protein properly, as protein digestion happens in the stomach, amongst other things, of course. And if your food particles enter your small intestine too large out of the stomach, they can start to agitate your intestinal lining, which can contribute to inflammation. Your gut lining can become compromised and you can get them bloating, feeling puffy, feeling cramping, discomfort. Then you start to feel sensitive to more foods. These are all signs of digestive inflammation. And the more stressed your digestive system is, the more negative impact this has on your hormone health. And then you throw in the busy schedule and we got a real perfect storm for a lot of symptoms, not feeling well, not being in a good mood, making poor food choices, and being in a fight with your body. It is the perfect storm, unfortunately. Perhaps your face feels puffy. Perhaps your hands and feet hurt. Perhaps your ankles, your wrists feel swollen. Your skin's breaking out. This all starts, I believe, with high stress, poor eating habits, and negative thoughts, overbooked schedules. And from there, if we don't deal with it and resolve it, the symptoms usually just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Your body yells at you more and more and more, and it just gets more overwhelming to deal with. And you can just feel like more things keep happening. And it just feels, a lot of people just think then it's their new norm and they just accept it. But trust me when I say it's not your new norm and you don't have to accept it. I talk about the digestive system and stress and inflammation. Did you know that the primary emotions we hang on to in our digestive core are worry, fear, guilt, anger, frustration, resentment, and irritation? And that is why it's so important that we also work on our emotional health. Inflammation is fueled a lot by anger, seeing red. It's so important to deal with our emotions, being aware of them, feeling emotions, and then using healthy ways to work through and release negative emotions. Because I really believe your cells listen to your thoughts. Your body listens to your thoughts, responds to them, and if it's positive, you're probably feeling a lot better. And if you're always in a negative headspace, you're probably not feeling very well. It's important to bring balance to your schedule for all of these reasons, to have time for self-care, time to relax, to recharge, to rest, reflect, support your emotional well-being as well as your physical. It's so important. We're not robots. We are human beings. We have needs on physical, mental, emotional, and I believe also spiritual levels. We are energetic beings. Our bodies respond to emotions, our environmental factors, the kind of food we're putting into the body, the thoughts we're thinking. It's so important that we honor ourselves as human beings rather than robots. You're not a machine. You have the gift of being a human being, and that takes a deeper level of wanting to support yourself to support optimal health. So if you're frustrated with your body because you don't feel well, instead of continuing to blame or be hard on your body, what if you actually looked at your schedule, you looked at the way you're taking care of yourself, and what if you made some changes? Because I think it's so important that we bring in balance to support your schedule and to support your hormone health. So that brings me to my last point of tips to balance your schedule and hormone health. Number 1, pull out your schedules, everybody. Pull up your schedule on your computer, your phone, your paper schedule, whatever you use. And I want you to look at it and see if there's any white space that's dedicated for you to rest, relax, meditate, journal, breathe, get out for a walk in nature, do mindful movement, yoga, stretching, drink a cup of tea and read a book, just like really chill stuff. And if you're saying, oh, I don't have any time for that, or you're starting to feel guilty, oh my goodness, people pleasers, perfectionists, huge opportunity to actually work on this, because your mindset is sabotaging your health. Your mindset is sabotaging the relationship you have with your body, with food, probably a lot of other relationships around you as well. We have to work on the people-pleasing and the perfectionist mindsets, because this comes to self-worth. If you don't feel worthy, you want to try and prove and overachieve. And so we have to address mindsets, because mindsets are dictating your behavior and overbooking your schedules. And this is creating a lot of physical symptoms and suffering. So it's very important that we block off white space in the calendar. It's important for us to get 8 hours of sleep. It's very important for us to be asleep before 11 p.m. because between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. is optimal hormone balance time. And if we're awake during that time on technology, phones, computers, answering emails, you're not going to get that full rest, heal mode. It's important for us to eat regularly through the day to nourish our bodies and support our blood sugar. It's important for us to drink enough water. Hydration is so important, and dehydration can further fuel all of these symptoms. It's so important for us to learn balance, to learn how to say no, ask for help, to be okay and satisfied with what we get done in a day and not think we should have gotten 10 more things done. It's totally okay to start putting yourself before the load of laundry or the pile of dishes. Do something for yourself first, because I'm going to ask you the question, what does it cost you physically, emotionally, financially to keep pushing yourself, to keep forcing, to keep going, to keep this overbooked schedule? What does it cost you? I really want you to think about that. Journal about that. Write that down on your piece of paper, your journal, and spend some time with that, because it costs people a lot and it doesn't have to. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast. The show notes can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/186. If this is resonating with you, if you're really identifying with the symptoms and these struggles, please, I encourage you to get support. So if it's something that you're resonating with me, feel free to email me and take advantage of the coaching sale, info@amberapproved.ca. If it's someone else, reach out to them. I just want you to get the support that you desire to have body freedom, a healthy relationship with food, and to have your life back. I want you to have that. So as I always say, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health. So take action now. Have a beautiful day. Have a great first week of June. I'm really excited for you guys to hear this podcast. Can't wait to record another one next week. And again, sending love and good vibes. And I'm so grateful to all of you for listening all over the world. Thank you again so much. And I will talk with you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast and share it with your friends. You can find me at amberapproved.ca and follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Amber Romaniuk. Join me next Sunday for another brand new episode and another step toward body freedom.